Hey, thank you guys. Wow, thank you everybody. It is so freaking good to be here. If you're new, let me introduce myself. My name is Forrest. I invest in stuff, and I think that all of you should. Really? A question already? Yeah, you in the back with your hand up. Yes, thank you. Scalping, so I've been trying to scalp. I just started day trading, don't have that much money, and I figured it was a good way to grow my account. Not working out, so I wanted to know your professional, super awesome day trader take on whether I should be scalping or not, and like, if not scalping, what should I be doing? Because I feel like that's what me and everybody who is new is doing. Can you help me with that? Yeah, scalping. Really good question. Yeah, so scalping is one of the hardest ways to trade as a beginner, guys. You're basically taking something that's really hard to do with options, which is timing, and turning it up times 10. So let's actually take some time to talk about that. Luckily, that is the focus of this video. So we're gonna get a little bit closer, a little bit more intimate, and dive deep into why beginners should not be scalping. Let's go.
All right, guys, we made it to the studio. We're going to talk about the top 3 reasons why you as a new trader should not be scalping. As a reminder, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. I've been trading for a few years now, day trading almost every day here more recently. Still have a full-time job. This channel is really me giving advice and talking about my journey, becoming a full-time trader, hopefully. But let's talk about scalping and the top 3 reasons why you shouldn't do it. And I also have up on my screen a chart of ES. And we're actually going to switch this over to this unnamed layout. And we're going to look at some live price action as an example, for some of these at least, of why scalping is so dang hard, right? So I usually trade on the 5-minute. We've got ES right now up on the screen, and we can see that we had some pretty serious range of values today. We had a high of 38.06. A daily low here was this huge wick. This was actually in the pre-market, 8:30 a.m. of 37.11, right? So let's go to the 1-minute chart. And let's assume you're trying to scalp off the 1-minute, or maybe we'll go to the 3-minute even, right? You're scalping off the 3-minute, and we're going to use this replay value from market open. Let's go to 9:30, right? All right, so I finally got this up on the screen. We're going to talk about the number 1 reason of why you're not able to do this. I'm just going to hit play and talk about it, but the number 1 reason is you are not identifying the trend, all right? A lot of scalpers, what I mean by that is as we let this play, and I just hit play right there, you are not identifying the trend, right? You are trying to scalp these small movements. Go ahead and let me hit pause there. Right, we see here that each one of these candles is 3 minutes, right? We had a huge sell-off into the open. I just paused it. It's now 9:54 in the morning, right? It's almost 10 a.m. in the first 30 minutes, right? You would have had an opportunity to get in here, coming down on this waterfall, right? There was a pivot here at the bottom, and then there was this break up to the top. What a lot of scalpers would have done is, in any of these wicks, if we look at the price action here, right, you would have gotten wicked out, and we'll scoop these up a little bit. So these 3-minute candles, we see it's down, it's a waterfall, but here, this candle closed here. The next candle opened here, but it wicked up, right? A lot of you guys would have got faked out, but then we see that it did close lower. In fact, this next candle closed here, wicked up a little bit. We have another candle with a strong top wick and a strong lower wick, right? So many of you guys are so bad at identifying the trend, and you would have got shaken out in any one of these candles. And then at the bottom here where we touch, get down to this low, this 37.38 level, right? You're not actually tracking your macro levels here. This level coincides with a lot of price action. You would have looked at the volume at this price. There's a lot of volume at this price, right? And so you should be anticipating a bounce, right? Scalping really is about playing on momentum. You need to be able to identify what momentum is. A lot of people come in and try to scalp, thinking, oh, I'm just gonna play the volatility, and as soon as I get a few bucks, then I'm just gonna sell it. But the problem is that you can get a few bucks in either direction, right? And so when the market moves against you, ultimately it becomes death by 1,000 cuts. So that's reason number one. Let's go ahead and let this play out a little bit more, and let's just see what the market did today, which is actually Friday, November 4th. Really interesting day, strong range day, right? We carved out almost a perfect range, and we'll go back to my other chart in a second, and we can actually see how the levels that I drew played out. But we see that we formed a new high here, and let's actually pause it here, right? So this is a really interesting time in the market. We'll play a few more bars here, right? So we had this high here. We're coming down and we're testing this prior high. Now, given the macroeconomic environment, we see that at this level, this was a supply zone, right? We had some supply here previously. We sold off, and if you go even further back, we see that this was another level that we bounced up. What do you do at this point as a scalper, right? As a scalper, you're trying to figure out which way the market's going to go. What are you going to do, right? And you're probably playing options. Every scalper that I know is playing options. They're all trying to go for these quick little, wins in the market. And what's interesting here is so many people that I saw online were looking really previously a few minutes ago when we were up here. They were looking for this break up, right? They saw this sell off and this rejection at the bottom. They saw that as a full rejection of bearish sentiment, right? And they assumed that we were just going to rock it, for the rest of the day. So we'll let this play out a little bit more, right? And what happens? We get this. Oh, snaps, we're bouncing up, right? So it looks like this level here, actually that we're testing, possibly we're gonna go up, right? We have two bottom wicks. We got a bottom wick green, bottom wick, right? Green. Well, let's just play a little bit more. Oh, red bar. And what happens? We sell off waterfall, right? We get some more consolidation here, right? Testing this level, which lines up right where we consolidated before, right? We had some barcode here. This is a demand zone previously. So now you're looking at this as a scalper, and you're like, well, what do I do? I'm just trying to look for a small little movement. As a scalper, I'm playing options. I just need a little bit of a movement. Maybe I can get something like close to the money, and we'll figure out what to do next, right? Ultimately, we get a really big sell-off, even though previously this was a demand zone, very small demand zone. Playing options as a scalper, and this is number two, do not play options as a new trader if you want to scalp, right? And ultimately, all these are going to bumble up, right? If you want to get the TLDR of this video, guys, is do not scalp as a new trader, which is really what I said in the intro here. But don't play options as a scalper. Do something else. I know it's going to be really, really hard not to when you see people who are posting, 50% wins, 100% wins all the time. But I can tell you, as somebody who's been trading for a long time and trading alongside a lot of people, everybody shares their wins, guys, and I'm guilty of it too, because we're trying to build a brand or whatever. But until someone says, hey, I'm consistently profitable, right? You can't trust the 200% wins, right? Because they probably had a 30% loss, a 40% loss, a 60% loss, maybe a 7% loss, an 8% loss, right? All these strings of losses before they got that one win, right? Maybe it was a YOLO, right? Maybe they got lucky. Every single trader is going to get lucky. Maybe you've been lucky, right? I've been lucky. I've had amazing trades. I've had six-figure trades. I've had trades where I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Ooh. And I've had the reverse, right? So now I'm focused on consistency. Consistency is much more important. So what's the alternative for us, right? We went through two. So far, right? The first one is not identifying the trend as a trader and not trading options. So obviously it's the opposite of that, right? So what I would do is try to look for confirmation on these levels. And if we actually go to my other chart, we'll go to my SPY levels chart, right? These are levels that I draw. Ignore this channel here. I was messing around with some futures for a bit. And let's just look at the 3-minute. Well, actually, we'll go to the 15. I was actually trading on the 15-minute today. And you'll see a few lines here. So these are the levels that I thought were important. I have some yellow lines. This was the range that I thought I was going to carve out. You can see those aren't perfect. Right, you can actually see that we exceeded the top of this range. We blew out the bottom of this range. We tested this level at the bottom nearly perfectly, right? And then I have these two yellow lines marking my range, right? And we did come up here at the top here. So if you would have played the pivots on the 15, you would have had amazing entries, right? So this first one we probably would have missed, right? This sell off here, because this 15-minute bar is all engulfing candle, right? It's all sell off, right? But then we have this green pivot bottom wick. So let's say it closed and you entered here. You entered at 37.62 at 10 a.m., right? At the top, it's up to 38.05, right? That's a 35-point move, right? And let's just be conservative and say you got 25 of those points. That's a solid trade. Same thing coming down. We get this pivot top, right, in this range. We come down, we close here. Maybe even wait for a second confirmation candle because you want to be sure, right? This one closes and you enter right here, 37, let's just call it 37.80, right? At the bottom after this sell off, right? 37.17, right? 80, let's just call it minus 20, about 60-point drop, right? Plenty of time to let that breathe. Trading on the 15. Let's look what this looks like on a shorter time frame. Go to the 3-minute. This is what this looks like on the shorter time frame, guys. It's so easy to get chopped up and get chopped out of the market here because it comes up here and you think, oh no, we're gonna sell off. It comes up here, oh no, we got a top wick. What do we do? It's gonna sell off. Oh no, like everyone's freaking out, and like every single candle, you're in a Discord and you see this person's analyzing this candle, this person's analyzing this candle, this person's analyzing the next candle, right? And all this analysis causes paralysis. And you know, something I've been doing is I've been trading on the 15 for that reason, and it just allows you to identify the trend trader or the trend easier. And sometimes there is no trend, right? So this was a really great day, and honestly I'm having today happen when I'm filming this video. Sometimes on the 15 you don't get this solid range, right? I'm on the 3-minute right now. We'll go back to the 15, and that's okay. Just don't trade, because the amount of money you'll make on days like today is worth the wait. And ultimately, that's really the last thing I want to talk about is you're trading too much, right? If you're a new trader and you're scalping, even if you do want to scalp, even if you are a scalper, your goal is to become a scalper, right? A lot of people think of scalping as taking like 20, 30 trades in a day, right? Get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. That's not scalping, guys, right? You can scalp the market by taking these trades here. You get in, right? You identify the trend. I wait for even 2 bars of confirmation, right? I know that we're past this level here. And by the way, on the video, I'm looking at this peak here at 9:15, right? And then I'm coming over to our second peak at 3800 level, coming back down. We're going to make sure that we're not testing this area again. You wait for 2 bars, two candles of confirmation, and you still have a huge trade, right? That's a 100%er, at least, depending on the strike that you take, right? We're not going to talk about risk reward on here. But that's a really solid trade, guys. So, and that's a scalp, right? You can scalp. You could take 2 trades coming down here, right? Maybe let it breathe. One of these wicks you get out, you re-enter on one of these retracements, and you get back in. So those are the 3 mistakes that I think newbies make when they try to scalp, right? Is trading too often, not identifying the trend. And what was my first one? Let's keep me honest, guys. Trading options, right? You don't have to trade options. You can trade shares. You can trade futures. Futures is a great thing to trade, but let it breathe on options. And if you do trade options, trade farther dated options. Guys, I know you think because you had those big hits that all you got to do is get a little better, but it's the zeros are designed to take your money, right? Trading zeros is like going to the casino, and you know it's not gambling because it's not going to the casino, but that's basically what it's like as a newbie, right? As a newbie, you're just gambling, right? You're not good enough to play with zeros. I promise you, you are not. And that money, as fast as it comes, is going to go. So don't do it. Play farther dated. You're going to breathe a lot easier. You know, the best thing about farther dated contracts is, you know, those things could be down 10, 15% on a day, 20% on a day, 30% on a day, right? But if you've got 8 days of breathing room, you know, the next day you might open up green, right? With as volatile as the market is, we know that in options, timing is the most important thing, right? So if you give yourself more time to be right, you'll be okay, right? And you've got plenty of time value. If you choose the right deltas, right, you'll be okay, depending on what your strikes are. So, and you'll also be surprised. I will say this too. You will be surprised at how much farther dated contracts move. I think people think that they have to trade zeros to get these big things. One of the biggest revelations I had as a trader was trading like 7 DTE contracts, or even further, and getting 200%, 300% wins on those. And that was like a chin scratcher where I was like, oh, nobody talks about these because everybody just wants to trade zeros. But you know, with zeros, theta is eating you so fast that with the zeros, you only have to be right. And with longer dated options, you only have to kind of be right. So keep that in mind. If you found this useful, though, go ahead and subscribe, share this video with 2 friends, hit the notification bell, and let's all become better together. See ya in the next one. Peace.